I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, July 17th, 2020, the WNW 440. And I got to tell you, I work on this all week long. I don't cover every single story. I look for a theme. I look for a way to kind of tie together the week. So I don't cover every single thing. And I've been thinking all week long, wow, we live in a world where something as simple and innocuous as the phrase all lives matter can get you fired or shot in the head multiple times. And that is exactly what's happened just in the past few weeks. Let's just start with a woman who got shot in the head multiple times for saying all lives matter to a group of Black Lives Matter thugs. This is not peaceful protesting, folks. This is a terror campaign. Young white mother, you don't hear this in the mainstream media either, and their propaganda. They ignore what they don't like. Young white mother Jessica Dottie Whitaker, 24, killed by Black Lives Matter mob for allegedly saying all lives matter. National media fully ignores it, ignoring a lot of stories, folks. A lot of stories. Her grandfather posted on Facebook that multiple black assailants shot her in the head. I kid you not, folks. Just because she overheard somebody, one of the Black Lives Matter guys heard, all lives matter, just like that. And then there was a confrontation. Both sides were armed. They settled it. They hid out for a while. Supposedly, this is some canal walk in Indianapolis. And then, before you know it, multiple shooters come up and shoot her in the head. She left behind a 3-year-old son. All Lives Matter got her murdered by the BLM mob. Mostly peaceful, horse hooey. Also, there was a dean in a school. This is a little less, but still a dean of University of Massachusetts. Her name is Leslie Neal Boyle. In an email, she said, "Yes, Black Lives Matter, but everyone's life matters." Oop, got her fired at the University of Massachusetts. Folks, I see a big backlash building for this PC, politically correct, politically stupid, left-wing wackadoodle. You cannot disagree with them or you're evil. You had the guy at Goya Foods, Goya, say, support the president. How dare him, put him out of business. Of course, that backfired and everybody bought it. And you have Ivanka Trump holding up a Goya can. And, oh, heaven forbid, you can't have an opinion that is different from the mob. So, Leslie Neal Boylan said, you shouldn't live in fear, for what you believe in. You got that right, but you're fired, Leslie, Miss Neal Boylan, fired at the University of Massachusetts University, fired for saying, Black Lives Matter, yes, but, all lives matter. Every life matters. Heaven forbid. It's just like a cuckoo cartoon world. And then we have this. Again, the theme here is the mainstream media is the enemy of the people. And you could be an enemy by lying by omission, not covering big stories. You think this would be a big story? Black Lives Matter activist shoots police officer dead in Washington State. Media ignores the story. Once again, Washington State police officer Jonathan Shoup was murdered on Monday night and his partner was shot and injured following a pursuit of a vehicle that ended in a pedestrian being struck. The killer, Henry E. Washington, fired a weapon at the police SUV. More to the story. Pursuing him, Black Lives Matter activist Henry Eugene Washington, 37, was arrested early the next morning. He murdered a cop. He shot at another cop and hit him and hit a pedestrian. And this is the kind of, it's mostly peaceful. No, it's mostly a violent fear tactics that is put upon everybody that disagrees with the Marxist transgender, get daddy out of the house and have transgenders and destroy the traditional family. Anybody that disagrees with that should be shot, killed, terrorized, fired. This is unbelievable, really unbelievable. And then we have more Antifa, Black Lives Matter, those mostly peaceful protesters. Huge lie, again, put on by the enemy of the people, the mainstream legacy media, ABC, NBC, CBS, Washington Post, New York Times, all the enemy of the people. And here we have it on video. Protesters allegedly get shipment of bats prior to Brooklyn Bridge application. They were having a peaceful march to support the police, and then you see these guys on video with these big canes and whacking, the police chief of New York City in the head, and some other guys, blood all over them. Yeah, peaceful. Anti-crime unit with hundreds of officers was dismantled. Smart move? Not. Again, this is George Soros and company. And all the companies that are scared to death, all the big Fortune 500 companies giving money to these evil, Marxist, violent people, because they're scared. Then you have people like Missouri Senator Hawley asked DOJ to open a civil rights investigation into St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office for targeting the McCloskeys. These were the people out in front of their house in St. Louis. They reconditioned an old house, and now they're the taxes that they're paying went way up to the city of St. Louis, but they don't understand how to that they should protect their taxpayers with these houses that they've reconditioned down, and I think it's Forest Park in St. Louis. At one time, a very nice neighborhood. Apparently, it's been gentrified and back, but can't have that. Anyway, he's asking for Senator Johnson asked DOJ Thursday to open a civil rights investigation. Yes, white people have civil rights. On St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner and her office violating the rights of local residents Mark and Patricia McCloskey. She had a little handgun. He had a AR-15. That was the only thing stopping his house from being looted or burned down or destroyed or whatever. They broke down a wrought iron gate. Bent it all to anything, and he was out in front of his house, and she's claiming that he was brandishing a weapon. No, he was out in front of his house protecting his property, not brandishing a weapon, waving it around. After they came on and didn't take repeated instructions to leave their private property, please leave. They were threatening to kill their dog and live in their house and hurt them and all kinds of other things. Of course, the left, they're mostly they're peaceful. No, they're not. They're an angry mob. Enough of the lies. Juan Williams is not. They were mostly peaceful. No, they're not. They're not peaceful, Juan. You're stupid. They wouldn't be peaceful if they were doing that to your house and wanting to burn down your house and kill your dog and hurt your wife. Just like the mayor of Seattle, who once her house got threatened, whoa, end of story, boom, done with chop zone. Another thing the media didn't do, I saw the president do this in the Rose Garden. I couldn't believe it, man. He had, it later came out, he had 42 disastrous things that would happen if Joe Biden, what he would do as president. A list of 42 disastrous things Joe Biden would do as president. He was in the Rose Garden. No media coverage. I looked at Bing, 3, 4, 5 pages of Bing. Looked at Google, 3, 4, 5 pages. Nobody covered. ABC, NBC, CBS, nobody covered the 42 things. Not a word. Crickets. That means it's all true. Now, I didn't put all 42 things down, but I put some. Let's go through, a few, maybe a dozen or so. Abolish immigration detention. No more detention. Just come here illegally, but no more detention. Stop all deportations. The president heard him say, we wouldn't deport MS-13 violent criminals. And prosecution of illegal border crossers. They just want to change out the voting base of America. Change America. And then have a one-party system. And then the heck with everybody else. And who knows what kind of violent stuff would happen if the Democrats actually took control. Incentivize illegal alien child smuggling. Expand asylum for new illegal aliens. Cancel all asylum cooperation agreements with Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador, where you were sending back MS-13 and all these other undesirable people that are doing violent crime. Give them taxpayer-funded lawyers. Abolish immigration enforcement. Restore catch and release policies that stopped. Grant work permits for all illegal aliens. Yes, while we have more than 50 million people that have filed for unemployment benefits. 50 million. The unemployment is stunning, and we want to bring in illegal aliens and put them above citizens that have paid taxes in this country. And I do not see how black people are down with this plan, because they will remain at the bottom of the heap. The illegal alien and the immigrant that we want to import into America will supersede anybody black, anybody poor, anybody white, anybody Asian. They will supersede all of them. And can you imagine the taxes? The confiscation is going to be stunning. It's going to be unbelievable. And don't think that, we'll only tax rich people. No, that's not going to happen. Grant work permits for illegal aliens, provide taxpayer subsidies and welfare for illegal aliens and new immigrants. federal student aid, free community college for illegal aliens, sign new immigrants up for welfare immediately, and a requirement for immigrants to immigrants self-sufficiency and maximize their welfare. Foreigners. Who is going to pay for that? I mean, I guess the Democrats think they have just one giant free button in Washington. End all travel bans, grant mass amnesty, vastly expand low-skill immigration to the United States. More people have to pay for welfare benefits, increase in refugee admissions by 700%, abolish law enforcement as we know it, end cash bail. You can get arrested for murder, go to Georgia, say, wow, go to court, and you're going to be tried for murder in the next 40 days or whatever. No bail, just walk out. Tear down the wall. I mean, listen, if you want to watch them all, Google the 42, what is it? What the heck is it? 42, yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Here we go. Donald Trump's list of 42 disastrous things Joe Biden would do as president. I think Breitbart and some other people covered it. Just go, you see them all. It's unbelievable. It's like cuckoo, corny, wackadoodle. And, the press doesn't cover it because they know it's wackadoodle. Somebody will say, wow, we're going to give all this welfare away. And we have all this 50 million people that have filed for unemployment. We're going to bring in illegal aliens and put them above American citizens that were paying taxes before this COVID overreaction scam. It's unbelievable. Really, it's unbelievable. Meanwhile, the mainstream media knows they have a horse with two lame legs, front and back, with Joe Biden. And of course, they're going to do everything they can to cover an incompetent man who should not be running for president. There will be no debates. There's going to be no debates. This is from the man who just was out this last week that said Arizona was a really important city. But Senator Hawley is going after this attorney, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner. She was basically got 70% of her money from George Soros, and she's let all kinds of rioters off the hook with no charges. She is now going after the white people who were standing out in front of their nice home they redid, and how dare them protect themselves. You have a right to protect yourself in America. And with violent protesters, they want to say they're not violent, which is not true. The whole thing is violent. Look at all the cities that have been burned down. Look at all the cops that have been hit in the head and hurt. And look at all what's going on. It's all violent. It's not just a few. This is the point. The point is to destabilize America. That's the point. To make people fearful. That's the point. When you can say something as simple as all lives matter and you can get fired or shot in the head multiple times, that's a fear tactic. That's crazy. But not crazy if you want to create maximum fear, especially for your opponents. Donald Trump doesn't trust the CDC, obviously. They've made a lot of bad calls. They were caught. One doctor has been on Laura Ingram's show saying, I blew the whistle on that they wanted to count everything a COVID case, and it shouldn't have been. And now this doctor is being investigated. Other doctors have said yes, and they've tried to count everything as a COVID case. If you stubbed your toe, they died of COVID. And so the Trump administration orders hospitals to stop sending coronavirus data to the CDC and two that's not right. Two HHS, Health and Human Services, not two. It's two Health and Human Services. Sorry, I got that wrong. Does the White House trust the CDC? Apparently not. They don't. And then you have another part of the scam, the scare, the fear tactics, this whole coronavirus thing. Have we ever had a flu season in July and August? No. There's a reason why there's a flu season. It's during cold weather. Because viruses don't do well in 90-degree heat at the beach. And this is part of the medical malpractice, the medical martial law, some people are calling it, to keep everything closed down. We just had a partial, closure now again with our crazy governor, Cooper, the baby killer. He always talks about science and data, and some federal judges here locally talked about, well, you didn't provide any science and data for closing, down, for example, a bowling alley. Sorry, you're always big on science and data, but we never see any science and data. And so it's to me, it's about keeping the country closed down. I mean, the Democrats are going to go with fear and making your life a living hell. And mail-in ballots, cheat by mail. And did we say making your life a living hell? And after we get elected, we're really going to legitimately make your life a living hell. I like that, the list of these disastrous things, the Paris Climate Accord, that was going to ship jobs overseas, and that was going to rape America of money. That's what that was for. Meanwhile, China and India can pollute all they want till the year 2030. Sound like a good deal to you? No. Just more fear. And then I have people, and I can't put this on as a fact, but I'll tell you the story I got. This trucker says, my wife's a nurse. She works at a VA hospital. I don't know where. If I did, I wouldn't tell you. She said, she had a test. She tested positive. She has no symptoms. And she said, her and some of her nurse buddies got together, and they took the swabs right out of the packet and put them right in a testing packet without using them and sent them off. And they all tested positive. That kind of goes with the fear thing. And how could you have this rising flu-like event in the hottest months of the year? It's never happened before, but it's happening now. Are they double counting, over counting? Are they infecting people on purpose? I don't know. That's what I'm getting back from some people, that they're infecting people on purpose. And for sure, they're way over counting, for sure. Now you have the governor of Georgia suing the idiot mayor of Atlanta Bottoms, who caused that 8-year-old girl to be murdered because she told the police to back off. And so you've got Donald Trump now saying that he's going to go into these cities. He's had enough. He's not waiting for people to ask him anymore. He's going to go into these cities. I had somebody from Minneapolis contact me, say, listen, I'm a landlord, and they've just extended for another 30 days. They don't have to pay rent. There were rapes, 3 or 4 rapes in an area in the city, and the cops say their hands are tied in Minneapolis and don't even know if they'll have a job next year. This is what these idiots are doing, and they don't care who gets raped, who gets murdered, how old, how young. It's all about gaining Marxist control of America and destroying America. That's what tearing down all the statues is all about. Let's destroy America. We stole this country, they say, which we didn't. We stole it. America doesn't deserve it to exist. It's racist. And incidentally, most black people aren't down with Black Lives Matter. That's according to leaders you never hear from, like one of them that handles the African American Museum, I think, and that was on Laura Ingram's show. It was on for some idiot thimble brain, and he was saying, hey, listen, all the data shows that the African community, which goes to church more than white people, he says. And he says that, and all the data shows that the overwhelming majority of black people do not want to defund the cops. And yet that's the platform of the Democrat Party and Joe Biden, who is in cahoots with Dumb and Dumber, Bernie Sanders and AOC, Alexandria Cortez. It's unbelievable what they are pushing, and why are they pushing this far left agenda? That's where the money's coming from. That's where the money's coming from, the far left. The George Soroses of the world, and including corporate America, that's so scared. They're so scared they can't do anything. They don't want to make anybody mad. You had the former the former CEO of Papa John's Pizza, and he comes out and says that corporate America is just scared. They're knuckling under to the mob because they don't want to be attacked. They're afraid. Hey, grow a pair, y'all. I mean, you're talking about your country being taken over. And if you think you can placate these people, that ain't going to happen. It's, and whatever happened to HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, Don Jr. was almost taken off one of the social media platforms, I think it was Snapchat, just for showing a headline from CNN. And it said, we're going to tell Donald Trump, roughly something like this, that, set him straight about hydroxychloroquine. And not more than a week or so later, they're like saying, hydroxychloroquine does work. And hydroxychloroquine does work. HCQ what they is the acronym for hydroxychloroquine, and zinc and a Z-Pak. And there's lots of studies and lots of tests and medical research science. The science and data that says taking it early on and you can knock it out. And why this is continually being discounted by the mainstream media. They continually get a pie in the face, like with the Lancet study that they had to back all that off. They said it didn't work, and then they said, we had bad data, we take it all back. And then we had the veterans study, which wasn't a study. Even the Veterans Administration said that whole thing was a scam, a sham. Listen, it works. Hydroxychloroquine works. There's some other things like a nebulizer that some of the doctors have come out with too, but of course the mainstream media won't talk about that. They want to keep you afraid, and they want to keep all the polls closed and cheat by mail. That's their goal. And if they really believe their polls with, and I don't believe any of them, with Biden is ahead by double digits. Listen, that's the same thing they did in 2016. You think they stopped doing that scam? Oh, it's all over. It's all over, Trumpsters. Don't go to the polls. Don't believe any of that. We have the biggest, I've told you this before, the biggest PSYOP, media scam, enemy of the people, the legacy media, the mainstream media. We have the biggest scam in the history of scams, of informational scams going on, because they can't stand to have Donald Trump in for another 4 years. He's already done this much destruction. With the Mueller investigation on his back, and the whole phony impeachment thing done in the basement, mostly of the House of Representatives, and all the people, turning him in for, made up crimes, and another 4 years, and without those weights on his back, and he could do some really damage, really damage. And listen, I know nothing works fast enough, works that fast, or a lot of people think that he hasn't done enough. I mean, he's got us out of the Paris Climate Accord, which was going to cost us trillions of dollars. He got us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He cut off China from setting up shell companies in Mexico and Canada. He stopped this with the trade deal he did with Mexico in Canada, the USMCA. United States, Mexico, Canada, USMCA. There's some bad things about that too. Listen, I've been critical about that. It kind of hurts our national sovereignty, and it turns North America into a trade zone, which I'm not hip on. But he has built a couple 100 miles of the wall and stopped a lot of people coming across. Even Mexico stopping their own people from coming across. But listen, this is a dogfight, and this is an information war, a psyop. I mean, the mainstream media, I worked in the mainstream media, and we tried to, we had the days of 2020, they were busting, all kinds of fakes and criminals. And I was an investigative reporter at ABC and Good Morning America and some of the other shows, and CNN. And, they let me do stories about the depleted uranium munitions at CNN, for the Army, and all kinds of other financial stuff, warning about how the thing was going to blow up in 2008, and it did. Then I got a pink slip before it blew up. But, now, forget it. It's all propaganda. It's unbelievable. It's what they lie about and fabricate. And, like the president is a Russian asset, and also about what they just leave out, like his 42 disastrous things that will happen if Joe Biden is elected, because they know they're true. They know all this welfare to illegal aliens. How many people may come up from South America if they're going to get free stuff, free everything, free college, free healthcare, free housing, free everything? Unbelievable. Just destroy the country. That's their goal. And of course, the mainstream press wants to help them destroy the country, the enemy of the people. A few things about the economy. Listen, I want you to know that I think Donald Trump's the guy to be in office during this time. This has been building for a couple of decades. This didn't just happen when he got into office. Of course, the COVID thing happened when he got into office, and he would have surely sailed to a re-election if the COVID thing didn't happen. But I still think he'll be reelected. I do. Faced with the crazy stuff that the Democrats, AOC and Bernie Sanders, and now listen, Biden is accepted AOC, the Green New Deal, Bernie Sanders, the commie that he is. He's accepted all that. He's not moderate. He's far Marxist, communist, godless left. Period. And here we have, I saw this, I thought, oh, some good news. And you read on, home builder optimism explodes higher as mortgage rates plunge to record lows. And then the chart kind of says it all, okay? So here's the optimism for homeowners up here, okay? And you see, wow, it went doing for the COVID thing and back up. Optimism, fantastic, but optimism doesn't buy houses. And here are the home buyers. Boing, boing. It's still lower than any other time. Going back to, it's the lowest still since 2009 and before. And maybe it has something to do with the 1.3 million people that filed new unemployment claims last week. It's well over 50,000 people have filed unemployment claims since this COVID crisis started. 17 straight weeks of 1 million plus filing for unemployment. Now, they're going to come up with another stimulus package. They probably won't give the $600, but they're going to come up with something, and it's going to happen before October. They can't let this whole thing come to a big thud stop in October. That's when it's supposed to be over. And so they're going to come up with something, and now the president is saying that we're going to definitely have to have a payroll tax cut. That's going to be part of it. I mean, listen, people are like, oh, he's exploding the federal debt. We were never paying this stuff back. He had $40 trillion overt and covert. The 21 trillion, Catherine Austin Fitts and Dr. Mark Skidmore is so well documented, and Catherine Austin Fitts put on her site fantastic work. And then now I just interviewed Skidmore, and he's up to 90 trillion in churn, maybe more, in debt that they're churning to keep this whole Ponzi scheme afloat. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this. I don't want you to have a false sense of security. Oh, it's going to be over in a few months. We have this V recovery. No. Keep working hard at putting yourself in a better position, paying down debt. Don't take on debt. Pay down debt. Get savings. Get tires on your car. I know it seems simple and stupid, but it's not simple. It's simple, but it's not stupid. You want as much stuff fixed and things going well, and where you aren't in a position where you got to run out and fix something in a crisis, or you have food at home in case things get really bad for a week or two or three, that you could actually hunker down and stay at home, where you don't have to put yourself out into the Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all the Dem supported violence that's out there. I mean, you don't want to have to put yourself next to that if you don't have to. It's going to get bad. Every one of my guests have talked about how it's going to get bad. I have Chris Martinson, Dr. Chris Martinson. He knows all about the COVID stuff, but he also knows a lot about the economy. Peakprosperity.com. Him and Adam Taggart started that. Adam Taggart's a brilliant guy. I've never had him on, but he's a brilliant guy. And but I'm having Chris Martinson on for the early Sunday release, and man, he wrote a piece called "Brace for Impact." I mean, he's not a chicken little running around. Oh, we're all going to die, head cut off. He's really measured and smart and analytical, and he's talking about brace for impact. Needless to say, he doesn't think things are going to get better anytime soon, and he'll be the guest for the early Sunday release. Chris Martinson, co-founder of peakprosperity.com, founded with Adam Taggart. Great site, great community, great guy. He's going to be the guy. And so here we have, this chart where, this is the home buyers down here. They came back some, but come on, it's still lower than all the way back to 2000, before 2009, still lower. That's where it's come up to. And then you have people like, and this shouldn't be happening, folks. Goldman Sachs had a embarrassingly, obscenely good second quarter because of all the money printing. This thing gets sold off as Charles Nenner. He was worried about a 40% downturn back in January, late January. We got 38%. Bo Pony in February, I interviewed him February 7th, and it aired February 9th. He's worried about a 35 to 40% decline, 38%. And then all this money printing, which brought the stock market back, but it didn't bring Main Street economy back. People are worried. And they should be. And you should prepare for that while things are good, while we're going to have all this money printing, while we're going to have all, people trying to go back to work and trying to open up. Although I think the whole goal, they just shut down California again, which is, absolutely crazy. And, and what do they do in California? This is trying to hurt the economy, folks. This is part of the economy. California to release 18,000 prisoners by the end of August to slow the spread of COVID. Listen to this, is in the story. Officials in California say releasing the prisoners will help protect the health and safety of the incarcerated population. Be damned, all you taxpayers out there and law-abiding citizens. We have to protect the criminal. And what he's really doing is he's, I think, spreading COVID. I think they want it to be bad. This is the Dem platform. Open borders, benefits and health care and jobs to illegals, and the heck with all the U.S. citizens. Do away with the cops. Make things as bad as possible. Run you out of business. You're not essential. You're out of business. This is outrageous. This is their platform. How can Joe Biden be leading by double digits? And the answer is he can't. And I still think, yes, there are Democrats that are going to be out there and they'll drink the Kool-Aid and they'd line up with the Kool-Aid, the Jim Jones Kool-Aid line and drink it and all die. Yes, they would kill themselves off by voting for crazy. Yes, some Democrats would. But there's going to be a percentage of Democrats that are going, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to have my house, bricked. I don't want to have my car spray painted and the windows busted out. But come election day, they're going to vote, even if it's a mail-in vote. They're going to vote for Donald Trump. Not because he's so great. Oh, I think he is great. I think he's unbelievable for doing this for $1 a year. You never hear that from the press. He does this for $1 a year. He donates his whole salary to charity. $1 a year. All this crap for $1 a year. And I think they're going to vote for Trump because he's just not crazy. Black people are going to vote for Trump. I'll tell you, there's going to be a backlash like you never heard of. The white council members that want to defund the police, this is up in Minneapolis, while they spent taxpayer dollars to have private security protect them. Let that sink in. There are going to be lots of black people that go, no, I'm tired of being patted on the head and handed a cookie. Meanwhile, you're bringing in all these illegal aliens. They're going to take my job. They're going to take benefits. They're going to go to college over me. They're going to go. How does that help black people bringing in tons of illegal aliens and immigrants? Muslim immigrants. How does that help anybody who's black or white or poor? Any American citizen on the lower socioeconomic end of the scale? How does that help them? It doesn't. And here we have. And then all that going on, well, we have major conflicts with China. They've reneged on every deal. The first phase, we're never going to get to the second phase of the trade deal. I think they've already reneged on the first phase of the trade deal. They may have to buy agricultural products from the United States to keep them starving. But here's the president's executive order on Hong Kong. It's made everybody angry in Hong Kong, in China. He basically is making them equal with China. And the United States Hong Kong Policy Act 1992, that special administrative region of Hong Kong is no longer sufficiently autonomous to justify the differential treatment in relationship to the People's Republic of China. So he's going to treat Hong Kong like China because they took it over. In late May of 2020, the National People's Congress of China announced its intention to unilaterally and arbitrarily impose national security legislation on Hong Kong. Meaning they're taking it over. It's communist Chinese now. They used to have trade advantage and financial advantage and all kinds of advantages in Hong Kong, immigration advantage, all kinds of advantages. Zip, no more. Also talking about sanctioning people of the CPP, the Communist Chinese Party. Talking about sanctioning them, the leaders in China. There's all kinds of things going on, and none of it good. We got a couple aircraft carriers in the South China Sea. Barack Obama sat and did nothing, didn't make a peep at all when they were building islands and military bases out there so they could project their force into a major shipping lane in the South China Sea and take it over. That's a major shipping lane, major shipping area, and we're going to have to protect the waterways. This is getting ugly, folks. And then you have Attorney General Bill Barr, who slams, this is unbelievable, Attorney General Bill Barr slams the CCP, Communist China Party, or the Chinese Communist Party, that's what I think it is, says China's secretly coercing U.S. business leaders, you think? You know, all these U.S. business leaders, like idiot Mary Barra at General Motors, wants to build Chevys, where they, harvest organs and persecute Christians and lock people away, no due process. Yeah, that's what she wants to build Chevys. She's an idiot. Along with all the other idiots that are going to China. Bill Barr says, hey, listen, appeasing the People's Republic of China, or the folks over there, the People's Republic, the CCP, and doing their bidding their end game is to replace you, says Barr, says to the people at the U.S. companies. So you're going to help China, and in the end, they're going to replace you and take your companies over. That's what's going on. You're not going to keep your company and do business in China and be fat and happy when they're trying to take over America. You talk about undue influence in our elections. That's China. You know, and I'll tell you something, because I've said China so many times, this video is going to be demonetized, and it will probably never be monetized. I think last week I spent about 15, 20 hours on one of these videos, putting it all together and getting it. I think I made $20. I think they finally did give me monetization, after the first 24, 48 hours, 72 hours, then it's, old news. And so that's when they give me monetization. Hey, Greg, you made $20. 15 hours, $20. What is that an hour? I don't know, $1.50? I think I made 75 cents an hour on my first job as a dishwasher at Country Kitchen on Highway 79 in Missouri. But anyway, that Country Kitchen's gone now. So Attorney General Barr slamming the CCP, slamming U.S. businesses. Twitter blocks, another headline here, Twitter blocks tweets on China human rights abuses. Twitter, making sure that nothing bad about China gets out. Trump administration travel ban on the Communist Chinese Party, or the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Hollywood, he's talking about kowtowing, this is Barr, kowtowing to China. Disney. Oh, we don't care how many people you kill or imprison or how many organs you harvest. Just let Mickey Mouse and Disney World be there, so we can make some money. Stupid. Google, Facebook, and Twitter appeasing the CPP and doing their bidding, according to Barr. And he says, again, the end goal is to replace you. So you basically appeasing the CCP is really short-term stuff. Really. I told you how Goldman had a killer second quarter with all the money printing. They knew where it was going and who was going to get it and how much they were going to get. And so they lined up and, never have a losing trade. So they had an obscenely good quarter, the, Goldman Sachs. And this is why, and this is a takeoff on the whole Warren Buffett thing. My secretary pays more tax than I do. Yes, and your secretary does get multi-trillion-dollar bailouts for almost every single company in the Berkshire Hathaway fund. You should have taken a pie in the face, Warren Buffett, you incompetent, doddering old coot. But here we have now taxes. Millionaires for Humanity is what their name is. Pen open letter, virtue signaling that humanity is more important than money. Here's my take. Millionaires and billionaires should give back all the bailout money you've been getting since 2008. And this includes this crisis as well. That's why Goldman had a killer quarter. Warren Buffett would have been decimated if not for the billions of, if not for the bailouts of many of the companies in Berkshire Hathaway. Same holds true for today. And that's the whole deal about the virtue signaling. Is taxes. Oh, okay. No. Give back all the trillions of dollars. Don't tax you. Forget taxing you. That's chicken feed. Give us back all the billions of dollars you got from the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank and all the other central banks where you got the money first and you knew where interest rates were going and you knew where the investment was going and you lined up and belly dipped to the bar. Give back all the money that was given to you. Forget the taxes. Not going to hear any of that. So, this time around, at least we had the Paycheck Protection Plan and people got some unemployment. But again, folks, that's going to end. And you police officers out there, every police officer I see, I pull up, roll my window down, and said, not everybody hates the cops. Don't quit. They want you to quit. Don't quit. Most people, the overwhelming majority, love the cops. And that's true. Not just with white people or Hispanic people or Asian people or black people, all people. Most people enjoy the cops. And yeah, sure, there's some bad apples. Okay, fine. But what about trading for the public? How about you listen to lawful commands by police officers? I don't know where these cuckoo crazy time Black Lives Matters, Antifa, Democrats, far left wackadoodles think that they don't have to listen to the police and they can resist arrest, just like Richard Brooks. He'd be alive today if they just said, Mr. Brooks, you are now legally drunk. You blew 1.1 or 2 or whatever you blew. We're going to take you into the left. He just put his hands behind his back and went to court. He'd be alive. Instead of wrestling, rolling around on the ground with a couple of cops and grabbing their taser and firing at him, yes, he got shot. What about training for the public? I'm sick of this. The police, well, they were mean. Well, what about the public? Hey, you know what works for me? Never argue with a man or a woman with a gun. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Yes, officer. No, officer. Be happy to. Stand over there? Sure thing. Got that. You want my license? Yes. I don't spit on them, cuss at them, put my door into them, wrestle around on the ground with them. Hey, guess what? I'm still alive. So, we live in a weird world. And I'll end this the way I started. We live in a world where you could say something as sweet and innocent and innocuous as all lives matter. And they do. And for that, you can get fired and shot in the head multiple times. That's the cartoon world we live in. And our press, enemies of the people. Enemies of we, the people. The press. Awful. The mainstream legacy press. So, I want to tell you, I appreciate all your comments. I think I have smart people on USA Watchdog and the YouTube channel. And just remember, if they deplatform me off of YouTube, they will not take away USAWatchdog.com. I own that. So USAWatchdog.com is where you can always go to figure out. I have much more write-throughs and much more information and much more stuff. I own that. I put less on YouTube. And so you can always go to USAWatchdog.com. I also have a join button, which is in case I get deplatformed, in case I get taken off of Twitter and Facebook, which are virtually worthless to me. They've shadow banned me to the point where I don't really have any presence there, not much of any presence. I think I have 30,000 Twitter followers and 15,000 people on Facebook after 12 years, 11 years. And so, but I'm on there. But so I want to thank you so much for your comments and your donations. That takes the sting out of them demonetizing my videos and then finally giving me monetization after 72 hours when, I make $3. And so thank you very much for your donations. That helps us. And if you can't donate, don't worry about it. Just pass it along. No guilt. No guilt. No guilt. If you're struggling to make it, don't worry about it. Take the information and use it and pass it along to other people if you think it'll help them, okay? So thank you very much for supporting USAWatchdog.com. And always remember, listen, these weasels want you to be afraid. That's their tactic. They want you to be afraid. They want you not to open your mouth. They want you to stay cowered in a corner. They want you to think that they're winning. All false, all lies, all fear. They're not winning. Don't stay in a corner. Don't be fearful. That's what they want. These weasels want you to be afraid. Don't be. Fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all, spiritually. God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit are firmly in control. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com. And do not be afraid. Don't fall for it. It's a scam.